I once had this guy. Well, he was interested in me. He wanted to date me. That was fine. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. I was single. He looked really nice. Tall, dark, and handsome. Dressed really nice all the time. And he kept saying, well, can you meet me here in this restaurant? Or can you meet me at the theater? Can you meet me over here, over there? So after the second time, the first couple times it was okay because I felt like, that's fine because I didn't want to be driving around with him no way because I didn't really know him. So I wanted to get to know him. So that was perfectly fine with me. That made me feel really comfortable. Then around the third or fourth time, I started to question that. I was younger when this happened. I was learning about men. And I told him on the third date, I said, well, I tell you what, come on by the house tomorrow and I'll cook dinner and stuff. And I'll buy everything, cook dinner, because you've been so nice and generous and paying for everything up to this point. So just, come on by the house around 6 o'clock, dinner will be served. He said, well, right now, I just think that we shouldn't, hang out like that. I'm like, hang out like what? Like you coming over to the house what normal people do? I said, hey, hold up, wait a minute. Are you married? No, I'm not married. I'm single. I said, do you have children or? No. I said, well, what's the problem? Why you feel that we can't ride around in the car together and you come over to my house and I go over to your place and get this relationship off the ground? Let's move forward and see where it takes us. He said, well, it's my profession. It's what I do. It's what's stopping me from doing stuff like that. And I said, okay, well, what do you do? Because I never really asked. I just know he was always, well groomed and looked really nice at all times. I figured eventually we would talk about our jobs and what we did, I wasn't looking at his wallet. I was just trying to look at his heart and figure out where he was coming from and to see if he was a good man. And he said, well, I am a pastor of a church. I said, okay, you are? What church? So he went on and told me about the name of the church, and I said, well, okay, well, where is it located? And it was about 60, 70 some miles from where we stayed. I said, well, all right, now you are single, is that correct? Are you telling the truth? He said, yes, I'm single. I said, do you have children? He said, no, not at this time. I hope to have some in the future when I get married. I said, have you ever been married? He said, no, I'm looking for a wife. I said, okay, so I really can't understand, since you're single and I'm single and we don't have no attachments to anyone. I said, well, hold up, maybe let me ask you this question. Do you have a girlfriend? He said, no. I said, well, what's the problem? Why you can't come over and visit and sit down, at the house and have dinner? Why you can't, we can't be seen together into a place of coming from a place? I said, that just don't make any sense to me whatsoever. Now, I could see if you was hiding a relationship somewhere and you was trying to sneak around, even though I would not date you under those circumstances because I'm not going to be second fiddle to anyone. I said, but the point is, it don't make sense what you're saying. You as a man, first and foremost, before you as a pastor of a church. And if your congregation cannot understand that you are supposed to go on a date every once in a while and hang out with your girlfriend and have a girlfriend in your life, how do they expect for you to get a first lady of your church if you can't date? I don't understand that. So he was quiet for a little bit. He said, well, I just never thought about it like that. I said, well, what do you think you are supposed to do? I mean, how are you going to find a wife if you can't date? If you can't go over to their house and sit down and have a normal conversation and a cup of coffee or a glass of tea? If you can't go to the movies together? If you can't be seen riding around? I mean, I don't understand that. I could see if you was married or was in a relationship, then you shouldn't be doing those things anyway. I said, but the point is, if you're both single adults, first and foremost, that is what you both are. And it's okay to date. I said, you have got to let that stuff go. You've got to live your life as long as you're not doing anything wrong. He said, well, I never thought about it like that. I said, well, you better start thinking about it like that, because if you think for 1 minute that I'm going to be meeting you all over the place just because you as a pastor of a church, then you better start thinking again. And if you think for 1 minute that I'm going to dip and dodge and hide because you as the pastor of a church, you better think again. Now, I will meet you every once in a while somewhere for dinner or somewhere when I know you're really busy and you can't make it over here to pick me up. I said, but the point is, we are both single. We are single adults, and it is okay for us to date. It is okay for you to come over to my house. It is okay for me to come over to your place. I said, we're not doing anything wrong but dating. I said, you have to date in order for you to move forward to get a wife. And if your congregation cannot understand that, then something is wrong. And you know what he said? Let's move forward.